Hey, and welcome back to another Evolve to Win show. This is our episode 100. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it?
I
Congratulations.
can totally believe it. This is, I mean, we've been talking about this. Well, so that's like almost was it 2 years, like a year and a half worth of
2 years?
Shows.
Yeah,
2 years
it's like
worth of shows, right?
52 weeks in a year. And although we probably didn't hit every single week, it's been about 2 years.
Wow, amazing. Well, I'm really proud of you
I'm proud of you too.
Sticking with this and having fun and just showing up every week and doing this program. And sometimes I know you've done it on your own, and where I wasn't around.
You know what I just found out about that? I was out with one of my friends last night, and she goes, I always wonder when you're solo on the show, like, did Paul make you mad? Did you just say, like, you're out for today? So I can think of probably one time that happened. But
no, usually it's because either you have something that you think you can just say, or we're in a time crunch, and for whatever reason things have happened where it's just easier for you to hop on a Zoom.
Yeah,
usually
I'm not mad at
like
them.
the Facebook Live, and then we can just post it. But a lot of times it's just because you've either worked with a client or you've just got done speaking for an event, and you're like, oh, I gotta tell people about this, so it's really juicy, and I gotta pump it out there. So, but we are super excited to be on with you. We have a topic that, as you can see, it's what got you here won't get you there. And that's really was that name was used by, it's in a book.
Yeah.
Marshall Goldsmith is somebody that wrote a book about this. And so we just have a little story that we want to tell you and how it can relate to maybe what you're doing, what you've been going through this last year. And we're going to talk just briefly about that.
And so just, this episode is not actually about Marshall Goldsmith's book, although I very highly recommend it. It's a great book for leaders to really identify maybe where their blind spots are and what next level growth looks like. But in this case, we're looking at the more broad concept of what got you here won't get you there. So think about this. Everything that you've learned up until now, your skill set, your knowledge, your actions that you've taken in the past, everything that you've done has gotten you where you are today, but it's not going to take you to the next level, right? So the only way to get to that next level and have that breakthrough is to be able to see something new and different, to learn something new, to maybe come up with a new strategy. And we just played this out. So we're in the middle of the holidays. I don't really know what day it is. It must be Monday because we're doing the show. But you know how during the holidays, you're like, what day is it? What time is it? Oh my gosh.
This is the one week of the year that you have no idea what day it is, what time it is. Yeah.
However, so last week we learned this lesson in a whole new way, and it's really, really interesting. So we were out on the tennis court. We went to a tennis clinic with a great tennis pro. And what happened was...
And don't worry, this is not about tennis. This actually relates back to you and into business and life in general.
And we're actually not going to even share the new tennis strategy that we learned, because maybe some of our opponents who we play are watching this. Don't want to give it all away.
Scarcity mentality.
In any event, we went to this tennis clinic last week, and Paul and I have been playing recreational tennis since 2005. That's really when we started. Now, Paul has stayed extremely consistent with his playing, and he's become very good. And he's just a natural athlete anyway. I've been not nearly as consistent, but I really have worked on it the last few years. And yet after 15 years' time, we took this clinic with a pro, and she taught us a new technique, new for us, not at all new in tennis.
It's not necessarily a technique,
strategy.
It's more strategy.
Yeah,
yes.
A new strategy that we had never heard of before. And after 15 years of playing and playing lots of doubles, lots of mixed doubles where, husband and wife or just man and woman play together against another man and woman, we had never heard of this strategy. And what's really interesting is, so we learned this strategy. And I'm going to tell you a piece of this strategy is that once you start using this particular strategy, you actually know where your partner is going to hit the ball. Now, to me, that seems so simple, so basic. Like, shouldn't you? Like, wouldn't that be a massive competitive advantage if you knew where your partner was going to hit the ball? And the answer is yes, of course. But in rec tennis, a lot of times we're just looking to hit a winner and end a point. And so you don't know where that ball's going to go. And it means a lot of times you're out of position. And I think it's just a really fabulous metaphor for business, right? Is that when you get a higher level of alignment with your team, when you really understand where the direction that you're going, it makes a massive difference in terms of how much you can accomplish. There's more efficiency, you're more effective as a team.
There's more communication.
Way better communication. And like, just think about movement on the court and being where you need to be. Okay, so in tennis, I think probably one of the most important aspects of the game is being where you need to be for the next shot that comes at you. But same thing in business. Are you where you need to be? And I think that really begs the question, are you clear on the priorities? Are you clear on the strategy? Right?
Well, I think for us, after 15 years of playing tennis and learning some strategy here and there and understanding how to hit a tennis ball and how to hit a forehand and a backhand and volley and all that, those are just techniques. But a strategy in doubles, it uncovered a blind spot for us. And so this is really about, we all have blind spots, and we all have taken our games or in business where we are, our professionalism, our skills to a certain level. And you feel like that there's more out there and things that you can learn and become better, but you don't know what you don't know. And so what this uncovered for us was just in more of, a sport, was it made me realize how little I know about strategy and about how to be better. And so by learning this strategy, it really opened up. And it's kind of funny because before we went to this lesson, I said to myself, I'm really excited about what we're going to learn because I feel like I know a lot about strategy in tennis, and I was like, I can't wait to see what I learn. And I hope I'm really surprised. I hope I'm not bored where I'm like, oh, I know this already. And so I went in with that open mind. And I think that's what really was cool about this is that when I learned this new strategy, then it really became like, wow, like this is such an advantage. This is something that I didn't know that I didn't know. And I think there's so many things in business and in life and in professionalism is that in leadership that you just don't know what you don't know. And when you are opened up, and that's why, they say that, people read less than one like business book or type of professional growth book a year.
Ever.
Oh, so it's ever. Like,
yeah. Most people are not.
So how
learning.
Are you? So if you're somebody that doesn't read a book, doesn't, you like reading, but it's more for fun, but you're not reading something that can open up that world to you of something that you didn't know that you didn't know. And so when you read something like that, or it's presented to it, or you go to a conference and you hear somebody speak about something and you actually implement it, it literally can change the way that you see things. It literally changes the way that you can perform, that you can lead others. There's but you have to be open for that. And you have to realize that it's there available to you. And I think the most important thing is just letting yourself know that there are so many things out there that you really don't know, even at the highest level. Mm-hmm. So, this title of it is "What Got You Here Won't Get You There."
Yeah. So I want you to think about when you look at the different areas of your life, usually when you hit a plateau, there's either some level of frustration or even a boredom that shows up, right? Mm-hmm. When you hit your plateau and you're not growing and getting to that next level, it should feel uncomfortable. It should feel frustrating, and it should, or you should just feel a level of apathy or boredom. So identify those different areas where you really would welcome a breakthrough. And then the question is, are you open for doing it a completely different way? Because again, whatever skills and knowledge that you have that have gotten you to this place, and look, we're all in different places in all different areas of our lives. But if you believe like I do that there's always a next level growth, what is it for you? Like, pick one area. What is it for you that you'd like to take to the next level? And then you start thinking about, okay, if I don't know what I don't know, it's kind of hard to isolate and say, okay, what do I need to learn? But if you get specific enough on the area that you're after. So with tennis, we got really specific that we wanted to work on doubles strategy, right? not just technique, not just form, not just the shots, but strategy. So that's on the sports side. In business, what is something that...
Yeah, well, there's the technical skills and then there's the strategy. So in the business world, especially, so let's say in an engineering company, your technicians are great engineers and architects and people who understand CAD and all of the stuff. That's great. You need to have those skills and you need to improve those skills as you go along and bring new software in and things like that. But then what's the strategy side of like building your business or becoming a better leader? And you really can't learn that those are two different skill sets. And so you can be a great engineer, you can be a great architect, but you necessarily may not be a great leader. And so it's reading those books, it's watching and listening to certain things and improving that and being open to the fact that there may be things that you don't know that you just don't know.
Yeah. And so when I just heard somebody say this recently, that the only way to learn something new is by listening. If you're talking, you're sharing something you already know. So I thought that's kind of an interesting concept, is instead of worrying about what you already know, who are you seeking out in terms of mentorship or guidance? Who can help you see what you don't see about your current performance? So think about what anything at all that frustrates you at work. I'll give you like one of the number one frustrations that I hear. I hear people talking about the fact that they're just so busy. They don't have enough time to do the things that they want to do. They don't have enough time to get to all the projects. They have too much work to do and not enough time. So I hear this all the time. Well, what's the opportunity there? The opportunity there is really to study a little bit more about productivity, to study a little bit more about what are some of the strategies that work the best for other people that allow them to take more control. And I'll throw out just a couple examples. So one of the top strategies there is to figure out what to say no to. Well, there's a whole model that you can use to really determine the tasks that you're doing right now that you shouldn't be doing. Is it possible that you don't know what you don't know? Is it possible that you've talked yourself into and believe that you should be doing the stuff that you're doing? If you really, really examine this, you're going to find you're doing some things that you shouldn't be doing, right? So find a model that you can use to determine what you shouldn't be doing. Now you've got to figure out how to stop doing it. That comes into delegation. What is your strategy for delegation? We have a 4-part delegation model. I'm sure we've shared that on this show before, but a lot of people really, really struggle with delegation because they say, oh, you know what, I just don't have the right team in place or with the right skill set that I feel comfortable handing it off. I can do it better. I can do it faster. It would take longer for me to teach someone than to do it myself. I've heard all the excuses, right? And I've used them myself. So that's another area of study that you might want to look into if you relate to the I'm too busy, is what is your delegation model? A third area is to take a look at your prioritization model. How are you prioritizing the tasks that you actually have? And most people fool themselves into thinking that they're pretty good at prioritizing. But are you really? Do you have great strategies? Are you using best practices for your prioritization? Most people I run into, no matter how effective they are, they still have room for growth in learning how to be better at prioritizing. And then there's time blocking.
Hey,
right?
yeah, and the great thing is again, this is our episode 100, and so for 99 different episodes, the reason why we do this is really to hopefully be able to bring to you ideas and just ways of thinking about things differently. So really just maybe opening up some blind spots for you that you have. And maybe there's a topic that, if you look back on the episodes that we've done, they're on either YouTube or they're on, Google Play or Apple iTunes, but you can go back and you can look at those episodes and find the one that, may be interesting to you, especially if you have some time off over the holidays. Well, we're already past the holidays, but to go back as you start this next year. But, take a look at some of those topics that we've talked about and listen to one of the podcasts and see if that's something, or dig into it, or buy a book, or find something on YouTube or whatever. But there's just so much opportunity there to really evaluate where you are in your leadership, where you are in your skill level, and to be able to shore that up, just either by picking up a book or just somehow just figuring out what that is and how you can get better at that skill.
And do what we did. Find yourself somebody who already knows the tricks, like our tennis coach, right? She has studied tennis for years and she has had some incredible mentors. And because of her learning and her knowledge and her growth over the years, now she can share that with us. That's massive leverage. If we were to just work really hard between the two of us, would we have ever come up with the strategy she taught us? We'd probably be too old to play by then. So it's like, okay, I mean, I think of this as leverage. I think about it as shortcutting your path to success. Take everything that you know that's gotten you to where you are right now and the level of success that you have, but really recognize that if you want to get to the next level, you got to shake things up. You got to think about trying new strategies, new techniques. Look for those strategies. And you know what? Try them out. Not everybody else's strategy will be the perfect strategy for you. I was sharing recently with a client that, when it comes to goal setting, as an example, you have all different sorts of platforms and theories and strategies for how to set and achieve goals. And usually the teacher comes from their perspective and their behavioral style. And what works for them is not necessarily going to be a perfect fit for you. So sometimes you've got to do some seeking to find the strategy that works the best. I mean, goal setting for us, we've learned from so many different people in different ways, right? Between books and seminars and everything else. And there are some that really were painful for us because of, behavioral style. It just wasn't a great fit. And yet that platform, that program might have been perfect for someone else, right? So it's about finding the right coach, right? Yep. Or the right mentor, someone who already knows and has what you want, and then tap into that person and find out, how did you get here and what can I do differently? So it's going to take some change for sure. It's going to take an open mind. But I think maybe more than anything is the desire, right? You just have to want to get to that next level. And if you start looking, you'll definitely find people to support you along the way.
Well, thank you for joining us for another Evolve to Win show. It's been a great 100 episodes. We have learned a lot. We have really been excited about just coming up with different ideas. I mean, just on this topic alone, it just made me realize how many times every Monday we've had to come up with, Sundays or Mondays, come up with ideas and come up with topics to talk about to you. And it's made us have to think about, where the growth opportunities for us are and where they are for the people that we work with. So thank you for watching, and thank you for being a part of the show. And if you like the show, please share it.
And if you have any topics that are important for you, so as you're thinking about what next level looks like for you and you're starting to identify some of your frustrations, please send us a message. You can either send us a message through Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, or even, comment for us, shoot us an email. But we'd love to have your thoughts and your ideas about where you look at next level growth and what's important for you. So thank you so much for being a part of this show and for just the support and the feedback. We've gotten some great feedback from you over the past couple of years. So please keep it coming and let us know what we can do to continue to improve and bring more value. So hope you have an awesome day and Happy New Year.
Bye now.